And his song about running from crime made him known. But teenage rapper Tay-K will not be able to run from a now 55-year prison sentence, delivered in fact by a jury earlier today in Fort Worth.
But today we're diving deep into a story that's equal parts tragic and controversial. We're talking about Tay-K, the rapper whose career skyrocketed at the same time his legal troubles exploded. But how did Tay-K react to the way things had gone? Stay with us till the end of the video as we talk about Tay-K reacting to his sentences, Tay-K and the murder case. Texas rapper Tay-K's legal troubles took a dark turn in July 2016. Arrested alongside 6 others, he faced capital murder charges stemming from a home invasion in Mansfield, Texas. The incident tragically resulted in the death of Ethan Walker. Fast forward to 2019, and Tay-K's situation had solidified into a harsh reality. He was sentenced to 55 years in prison and a hefty fine of $21,000 after being found guilty of murder in the 2016 robbery. This outcome was confirmed by the Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office. The Tarrant County jury handed down an additional verdict, sentencing Tay-K, known legally as Tamor McIntyre, to 30 years behind bars for 1 count of aggravated robbery and 13 years for each of the other 2 counts of aggravated robbery. These sentences will be served concurrently, as confirmed by a court clerk. At the heart of the trial was the tragic demise of Walker, a 21-year-old father, for which the 19-year-old Tay-K was found guilty of murder. Notably, Tay-K was among 7 defendants implicated in the case, with the remaining 6 either convicted or having negotiated plea agreements. More on the case that brought him so much trouble later, but since July of 2019, Tay-K has been incarcerated at San Antonio's Bexar County Adult Detention Center. He's been having a rough time of it. Taking to social media recently, Tay-K unloaded his frustrations about his sentence, sparking discussions about its severity. In a tweet hinting at a lost chance at normalcy, he wrote that he really just needed one chance at adulthood. This cryptic message seemed to suggest a yearning for a life outside the prison walls, a life where he could experience the freedoms and milestones typically associated with young adulthood. In a lengthy Instagram post, the celebrity took a moment to express his gratitude to his loyal fans. He acknowledged the years he had spent behind bars, reflecting on the impact of incarceration on his life. He wrote that he was thinking about all his supporters out there, his message brimming with appreciation. He went on to say that the love and support means so much, especially knowing there's so much he hasn't been able to fully explain. He hinted at a deeper story, one unknown to the casual observer. He noted that it had been over 5.5 years now, the weight of time settling on his words. He continued by saying he couldn't help but feel a debt of gratitude to all his fans for sticking with him through it all. He further said that it was a strange thing to realize he hadn't truly experienced life as an adult outside the walls of the prison. He finished by saying the system, from the CPS system to the justice system now, has taken up most of his life. In a fiery tweet storm, rapper Tay-K ignited controversy with accusations of racial bias in his sentencing. He expressed a strong belief that his race played a pivotal role in the severity of his punishment. He began by saying, imagine being 16, allegedly involved in something, and getting slammed with 55 years, his words dripping with frustration. Tay-K then made a sweeping comparison, suggesting that a lil white kid in his situation would have received a vastly different outcome. He argued that his youth and supposedly lesser role in the crime would have been seen as mitigating factors, granting him access to rehabilitation and a true second chance at adulthood, something he felt was denied due to his race. Further fueling the flames, Tay-K referenced a white co-defendant who, in his view, received a significantly lighter sentence solely because of their differing skin tones. In a follow-up tweet, Tay-K bolstered his claims with a specific example, highlighting the apparent racial disparity in sentencing. He wrote that one of his co-defendants was a white girl who was 16 just like him. Here he emphasized the shared age, drawing a clear parallel between their situations. However, the paths diverged dramatically. Tay-K continued by saying that they didn't certify her as an adult, pointing to a perceived difference in how they were treated by the justice system. He contrasted this with his own experience, stating that they certified him and Pimpies as adults, referring to another co-defendant. Tay-K then detailed the sentences, emphasizing the perceived injustice. Pimpies got 30 and he got 55, highlighting the significant difference in punishment. The final sentence hammered home his point. He said that she ended up getting 10 years of probation without any deal, and that the girl was home right now, signifying her freedom while he remained incarcerated. Let's turn now and examine in detail the case that brought Tay-K to this hard situation. On July 25, 2016, a night intended for casual smoking turned deadly. Megan Holt, Ariana Barrett, and another woman arrived at Zachary Belote and Ethan Walker's residence, where Holt had previously shared a romantic connection with Belote. A plan to rob Belote was hatched, but the initial attempt was foiled by the presence of too many people inside. However, in a calculated move, the trio left the door unlocked, a silent invitation for trouble. Through text messages, they sent the alarming instruction to hit a lick, a street term for robbery. This cryptic message reached a group of male accomplices, accomplices. This group included Tay-K, Letharian Merritt, Sean Robinson, and Jalen Bell, also known as Pimpies, who then reportedly stormed the residence armed. Chaos erupted as the robbery unfolded. Belote sustained a gunshot wound but managed to escape. Another resident suffered injuries in the melee. The most tragic consequence, however, unfolded in the living room. Witness testimony revealed Ethan Walker, sitting helplessly on the ground, was fatally shot. The aftermath painted a grim picture. Tay-K, according to a witness, expressed frustration, not about the loss of life, but about the meager haul, a little cash and a watch. In a crucial 2.5-hour interrogation, Tay-K acknowledged his involvement in the robbery gone wrong. Detectives recounted how he described searching the house for drugs, a detail that would later be used in court. Just days after his 17th birthday, Tay-K was transferred to an adult jail facility in July 2017. The fight for his status wasn't over though. An August hearing aimed to determine if he would be tried as a juvenile, a status that could significantly impact sentencing. Despite Tay-K's optimism and his lawyer's confidence in his exoneration, the court ruled to proceed with him as an adult. However, the path to trial wasn't smooth. A lack of crucial evidence emerged, forcing a postponement that would further complicate the rapper's future. Tay-K's case unfolded with a cascade of sentencing hearings throughout 2018. In February, a young accomplice, described only as a petite, pretty blonde, received a harsh sentence of 20 years for capital murder and aggravated robbery charges. This secrecy surrounding her identity stood in stark contrast to the unfolding fates of the other co-defendants. Later that month, Megan Holt opted for a plea deal, admitting guilt to aggravated robbery and agreeing to testify against her former associates in exchange for a 20-year sentence. May brought a more severe punishment for Letharian Merritt, who was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. The domino effect continued as Ariana Barat pleaded guilty to aggravated robbery in August and received a 25-year prison term. Finally, in the same month, Sean Robinson faced the consequences of his actions, pleading guilty to murder and being sentenced to 40 years behind bars. In November 2018, Pimpies, the final accomplice of Tay-K, entered a guilty plea to aggravated robbery charges and received a harsh sentence of 30 years behind bars. Tay-K's legal team contended that his case initially began in the juvenile justice system, devoid of a bail or bond mechanism, thus entitling him to one under Texas law as of March 2018. However, State District Judge Wayne Salvant rebuffed Tay-K's plea for bond, expressing apprehension over the glorification of his alleged crimes and deeming him a high-risk individual with a propensity for violence. Now, why would the judge have thought so poorly of the then 18-year-old? Well, in January of 2017, Tay-K found himself confined to his residence, awaiting certification hearings that would determine his legal fate. This house arrest loomed like a dark cloud, and his frustration mounted with each passing day. Just before his hearings were set to begin, on March 27, 2017, Tay-K made a drastic decision. With another suspect by his side, they took a bold step, snipping off their ankle monitors and vanishing into the night. Their destination? San Antonio, Texas. Tay-K documented his defiance on Twitter with a brash message, a clear indicator of his chosen path. He implied that he was leaving the house and breaking the house arrest. He further stated that the police would have to catch him on the streets. This escape fueled Tay-K's creativity. He made his way to Elizabeth, New Jersey, and there he poured his experience into a song titled The Race. The lyrics echoed the adrenaline-pumping dash from authorities and the weight of his legal battles. The opening line left little to the imagination. Forget a beat. I was trying to beat a case, but that case beat me, so I ran the race.
Breaking news to share with you. We just learned 17-year-old Tamar McIntyre has been arrested in New Jersey by the U.S. Marshal Service. He's been being held there pending his extradition back here to Texas. McIntyre, who's from Arlington, is suspected in a capital murder case and had been described as a violent fugitive. He's been the subject of a nationwide manhunt.
Tay-K remained elusive for a while longer. However, 14 days after his 17th birthday, the U.S. Marshal Service caught up with him on June 30th, 2017, in Elizabeth, New Jersey. In a final attempt to evade custody, Tay-K resorted to theatrics. He claimed to have swallowed pills, forcing a trip to the hospital. When the ruse failed, he switched confirmed tactics, alleging he heard voices. This landed him in a psychiatric ward for a day and a half, but it wasn't enough to outrun the law. Eventually, he was taken into custody, his escape attempt coming to an end. With his escape attempt over, it was confirmed that Tay-K's legal situation exempted him from facing the death penalty or life imprisonment without parole. In the event of a conviction, he potentially faced a sentence ranging from 40 years to life in prison with the prospect of parole. The commencement of his trial in 2019 witnessed Tay-K entering a guilty plea to 2 counts of aggravated robbery related to the Mansfield home invasion case. Subsequently, on July 19, 2019, a jury convicted Tay-K of murder and an additional count of of aggravated robbery, carrying a potential sentence of up to 99 years. Notably, during the trial's sentencing phase, his track The Race, composed while evading the U.S. Marshal Service, was introduced as evidence.
Taymor McIntyre ever so slightly rolled his head to the side as a judge announced his 55-year prison sentence for the murder of Ethan Walker.
On July 23, 2019, the verdict delivered a judgment of 55 years for murder, 30 years for one count of aggravated robbery, and 26 years for the remaining 2 counts of aggravated robbery. These sentences are to be served concurrently, with eligibility for parole after 28 years. Additionally, he incurred a fine totaling $21,000, distributed as $10,000 for the murder charge and $11,000 for the combined 3 counts of aggravated robbery. Tay-K's other legal troubles.
Investigators say the suspect in the murder of a UNT college student was arrested on his way to work at the Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma, Arizona. Eric Johnson is charged with murder for the death of 20-year-old Sarah Muchleckner. She was shot in the head during a drive-by shooting after a New Year's Eve party in Denton.
Tay-K's involvement with the justice system did not begin with this case that got him in the slammer for 55 years. His first brush with the legal system occurred early in 2016, the same year of the Ethan Walker murder. It might have been this event that turned Tay-K into a life of crime. After their electrifying performance at a Daytona bash on New Year's Eve 2016, the future of the Daytona Boys seemed bright. Daytona Boys was the band Tay-K was a part of at the time. However, that very night would mark a dark turn, leading to the group's eventual disbandment. As they left the venue in their car with 2 unidentified companions, a red light brought their journey to a halt. There, they spotted another vehicle, a sign of the trouble to come. Inside were 4 people they recognized from the party, 2 men and 2 women, with a young college student, 20-year-old Sarah, behind the wheel. Just like clockwork, a familiar scenario unfolded. The Daytona Boys, emboldened by the night's festivities, lowered their windows and began hurling crude remarks, their words dripping with unwelcome sexual advances directed toward the women in the other car. The revelry was about to take a dangerous turn. Evidently, those initial attempts at charming seduction were met with resistance by the occupants of the car. Subsequently, a male passenger rolled down his window and issued a menacing threat to the Daytona group, escalating the tension. Seizing the moment, the driver, Daytona boy Santana Sage, brandished a firearm and discharged 2 rounds. Tragically, one of the bullets found its mark, striking Sarah in the head and resulting in her fatal crash off the roadway. Investigators disclosed that the suspect, Eric Johnson, the real name of Santana Sage, accused of the murder of the UNT college student, was apprehended en route to his workplace at the Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma, Arizona. Although Tay-K and Pimpies were confirmed to have been present in the car during the incident, their involvement in the murder was not pursued due to their status as minors at the time. However, the prospects for Santana Sage appeared bleak even as his associates faced no charges. Prior to the trial's onset, a damning direct message, or DM, surfaced from one of Santana's acquaintances, essentially incriminating him. The message implied that Santana bore responsibility for the tragic event, asserting that Sarah's presence at the scene was merely unfortunate timing. Furthermore, it indicated that Santana was already agitated from a previous altercation earlier that same evening, exacerbating the situation. In the aftermath of the tragic shooting, Santana Sage went to trial, pleading not guilty. His defense hinged on a shaky narrative. He admitted firing, but claimed it was merely to scare the occupants of the other car after they hurled homophobic slurs at him. He insisted he never intended to kill anyone. He recounted how a simple question, "Where's the next party?" elicited a volley of hateful, homophobic, and racist insults from the victim's car. Santana Sage claimed he displayed his gun to de-escalate, admitting he fired twice, but only in fear, aiming over the car, not intending to harm anyone. Despite his claims, the evidence spoke volumes. Sarah was shot in the head and her car careened into a pole. While the defense argued for a manslaughter verdict, citing Johnson's threatening behavior, the jury saw through it. The judge sentenced Santana Sage to 44 years behind bars, a stark consequence for a night of reckless bravado gone lethally wrong. Remember the time Tay-K went on the lam? Well, he was not just fleeing the authorities, he was actively participating in crime. After removing his ankle monitor and fleeing authorities, Tay-K purportedly engaged in a fatal altercation on April 23, 2017. Reports indicate that he allegedly shot and killed 23-year-old Mark Anthony Saldivar during a robbery outside a Chick-fil-A establishment in San Antonio, Texas. The allegations suggest that Tay-K, alongside 2 accomplices, enticed Saldivar into a black SUV under the pretense of acquiring his photography equipment, only to perpetrate the robbery. Tragically, this encounter culminated in Saldivar's untimely demise, marking another grim chapter in Tay-K's criminal endeavors. Following Saldivar Saldivar's attempt to flee the SUV and his desperate cries for assistance, Tay-K reportedly intensified his aggression, accelerating the vehicle in an apparent effort to strike him. Desperately seeking refuge, Saldivar leaped onto the SUV's hood, vigorously striking the windshield in a bid to thwart Tay-K's pursuit. Allegedly, Tay-K exited the vehicle and fired a single shot at Saldivar before departing the scene. Subsequently, approximately a month later on May 25th, Tay-K purportedly targeted and robbed Oni Skip Pepe, age 65, in Cravens Park, Arlington, Texas. Pepe endured a harrowing ordeal as Tay-K allegedly held him at gunpoint, rendering him unconscious before fleeing the scene. It was a jogger who stumbled upon Pepe's inert form in the park. Subsequently, Pepe positively identified Tay-K during a photo lineup. On October 3, 2017, further capital murder charges were levied against Tay-K in connection with the San Antonio incident. Law enforcement authorities assert that Tay-K was present in the vehicle at the time of the shooting, citing surveillance footage as evidence. Initially, Tay-K was detained with a bail set at $500,000. However, in February 2018, the bail was rescinded, signaling a heightened level of scrutiny and concern surrounding the severity of the charges against him. This development emphasized the gravity of Tay-K's legal predicament as he found himself facing increasingly serious allegations and escalating legal ramifications. In August 2019, mere days following his sentencing for the Mansfield home invasion and homicide, Tay-K was promptly extradited to the Bexar County Jail. His transfer aimed to facilitate his impending trial for the Mark Saldivar murder case. Subsequently, in November 2019, a grand jury in Bexar County officially indicted him for capital murder. Even after getting himself into a prison cell, Tay-K refused to stop his bad behavior. While incarcerated on August 2, 2018, Tay-K faced charges of possessing a prohibited item when authorities discovered a mobile phone concealed in his sock during a routine search conducted within the confines of the detention facility. Tay-K's unruly behavior did not stop there. Tay-K's transfer from Tarrant County Jail to the maximum security Lon Evans Correction Center occurred on August 14th. There, he endured solitary confinement for 23 hours daily, with only 1 hour permitted for gym access. While incarcerated in Tarrant County Jail, allegations surfaced of his verbal outbursts, including profanities and death threats directed at a Tarrant County sheriff's sergeant. Incidents of food tray throwing and wet toilet paper occurred, along with exceeding designated phone usage. These behaviors underlined the challenges faced during his time behind bars and led to heightened security measures within the correctional facility. By March 1, 2019, various online platforms circulated reports of Tay-K's alleged intent to establish a prison faction named the Rug Rats, aiming to align with the Crips. This initiative, purportedly fueled by a desire to antagonize the Texas-based Puro Tango Blast, garnered attention following a tip received by a warden from an informant. Consequently, Tay-K found himself confined to solitary quarters. The Fort Worth Star-Telegram detailed the emergence of a set of guidelines titled The Laws of Power, governing the conduct of this purported gang. These rules stipulated strict codes of behavior, including directives against disclosing information to law enforcement, thievery from fellow members, or harm to children, unless under dire circumstances. Membership protocols entailed initiation processes overseen by designated sergeants. Could we find something to explain Tay-K's constant involvement in all his terrible behavior from his past? Let's take a look. Tay-K life and times. Tay-K, born Tamor Trayvon McIntyre, entered the world on June 16, 2000, in Long Beach, California. His early years were marked by his father's incarceration, leaving a significant impact on his young life. Determined to create a more stable environment for her children, Tay-K's mother made a pivotal decision. When Tay-K was 8 years old, she uprooted the family, relocating them from the California sunshine to the dazzling lights of Las Vegas, Nevada. After his father's release from prison, a glimmer of hope flickered for a fresh start. Tamor, then 9 years old, along with his mother and sister, embarked on a journey to Arlington, Texas. The family believed this new environment, far from the shadows of their past, would offer a chance for stability and a brighter future. Tamor enrolled at Martin High School, eager to integrate into a new life. However, this dream of normalcy would be short-lived. By his freshman year, the path he would take diverged sharply, leading him to drop out of school and down a very different road. During a candid conversation, the rapper disclosed that he gauged his relationship with his parents at a modest 6 out of 10, shedding light on a challenging upbringing where self-reliance became paramount from an early stage. This self-sufficiency, however, inadvertently steered him towards a path marred by illicit endeavors, culminating in his incarceration at the tender age of 17. Tay-K's musical influences encompassed a diverse array of artists, including luminaries such as Chief Keef, X-Temptation, Eazy-E, Young Pappy, and his personal favorite, Soulja Boy. Drawn to their unique styles and lyrical prowess, Tay-K found inspiration in their music, which resonated with him on a profound level. Emerging onto the rap scene in 2014, Tay-K wasn't alone. He honed his skills Hills as part of a collective effort, rapping alongside Pimpies and Santana Sage in the group Daytona Boys. Their first track, Drift, dropped on SoundCloud on Christmas Day that year, marking the start of their journey into the competitive world of hip-hop. Though recognition remained elusive despite their releases, the Daytona Boys persevered. They hit the local party circuit, performing wherever they could to establish a foothold and build a fan base. In August 2015, Tay-K made his debut as a solo artist with the release of Biff Zanin on his SoundCloud platform. This maiden track, along with his subsequent September 2015 release, Sly Cooper, quickly gained traction within the vibrant rap community of Arlington. However, it was his song Mega Man, unveiled on March 16, 2016, that truly captured widespread attention. Despite its popularity, Tay-K's musical journey was abruptly interrupted by his arrest on capital murder charges, propelling his existing catalog of songs, including Mega Man, into the spotlight, where they garnered even greater recognition and acclaim. Tay-K's notoriety surged during his time as a fugitive. Among the tracks he dropped on the run was The Race, a defiant anthem recorded while holed up in New Jersey. The music video itself premiered on YouTube the very day he was apprehended by authorities. The Race exploded onto the charts, fueled by a massive social media campaign under the #FreeTake banner, debuting at number 70 on the Billboard Hot 100. It ultimately climbed to number 44 and continues to rack up views, surpassing a staggering 226 million on YouTube. The song's infectious energy resonated with other artists, leading to remixes by a star-studded lineup including Tyga, Lil Yachty, YBN Namir, Fetty Wap, and Rico Nasty. Despite being behind bars, Tay-K wasn't silenced. His mixtape, aptly titled Santana World, dropped while he awaited trial, further solidifying his controversial presence in the rap game. The track Coolin' leaked online in September 2017, causing a stir as fans clamored for any new material. World Star Hip Hop, a popular hip-hop platform, capitalized on the hype by releasing their version of the song. However, Tay-K's official camp quickly refuted it as unauthorized, hinting at a bigger plan for the official release, leaving fans eagerly anticipating what something major might entail. Tay-K's momentum continued to build even behind bars. December 14, 2017 saw the official re-release of his debut mixtape, Santana World, by 88 Classic and RCA Records. This version included a much-anticipated remix of his breakout hit, The Race, featuring the rap heavyweights 21 Savage and Young Nudy. The song's popularity continued to soar, reaching platinum certification by the RIAA on January 19, 2018. February 2nd brought another surprise. Tay-K's official Twitter account, silent since May 2017, sprung back to life with 2 photos, the first public glimpse of the rapper in months. The following day, fans were treated to a new track, After You, released on his SoundCloud account. This flurry of activity, both musical and visual, kept Tay-K's name at the forefront of the hip-hop scene. Financial details surrounding Tay-K's record deal with 88 Classic and RCA Records emerged in March 2018, with estimates suggesting he earned a hefty sum between $600,000 and $700,000. This news, coupled with his continued musical output, solidified his controversial yet undeniable impact on the industry. Even outside his own projects, Tay-K's influence was felt. The burgeoning No Jumper label tapped him for a collaboration with Blockboy JB on their track Hard, which bubbled just beneath the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 14 on the bubbling underchart. Further recognition came in the form of a coveted spot on the shortlist for XXL's prestigious freshman list for 2018. This inclusion, despite his incarceration, spoke volumes about the rapper's captivating, albeit troubled, rise to fame. On November 23, 2019, Tay-K's Twitter account became a focal point of controversy as a family member took control against the advice of his manager, Ezra Averill. Through a series of tweets, the relative aired grievances on behalf of the rapper, expressing dissatisfaction with Tay-K's contractual agreements with 88 Classic and RCA, along with alleged communication issues with Averill. On May 10, 2018, Tay-K's management team raised concerns over Spotify's decision to remove his music from playlists sponsored or curated by the platform. This action, also affecting artists like XXXTentacion and R. Kelly, was implemented under Spotify's hate content and hateful conduct policy. A spokesperson for Spotify clarified their stance, explaining that promotion decisions are guided by considerations of artist conduct, particularly instances where off-platform behavior contradicts the platform's values. Such actions are deemed egregious and incompatible with Spotify's principles, prompting the removal of associated content from promotional playlists. This move reflected Spotify's commitment to maintaining alignment between its platform and ethical standards. Criticism ensued following these decisions, with many pointing out inconsistencies in Spotify's approach. The streaming platform faced scrutiny for removing content not only from artists like Tay-K, XXXTentacion, and R. Kelly, but also from iconic figures such as Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Dr. Dre, Eminem, and Kanye West. Despite varied accusations and controversies surrounding these artists, Spotify's actions raised questions about its judgment and application of its its policies. On May 31st, Spotify CEO Daniel Ek acknowledged missteps, conceding that the policy had been mishandled. This admission signaled a willingness to reassess and refine the platform's approach to contentious content. Spotify's initial decision sparked further controversy in early June. Facing mounting criticism, the platform received a direct challenge. Rapper Kendrick Lamar, a former artist under Top Dog Entertainment or TDE, alongside label founder Anthony Top Dog Tiffith, sent a threatening letter. They demanded the removal of TDE's entire catalog if the policy wasn't reconsidered. This high-profile push, combined with broader industry unease, appeared to tip the scales. Spotify ultimately reversed course, shelving its anti-hate conduct policy application to artist content. The platform reinstated XXXTentacion's music within playlists and recommendations. However, the music of Tay-K and R. Kelly remained absent, highlighting the policy's inconsistent application. Legal woes are still mounting for Tay-K following his alleged involvement in a string of violent crimes. 3 separate lawsuits targeted the rapper. The Saldivar family, whose son Mark was fatally shot in San Antonio, filed a wrongful death suit seeking over $1 million in damages. This was followed by a joint lawsuit from Ethan Walker's family and survivor Zachary Belote, who were allegedly victims of a home invasion where Walker was killed. Their suit went beyond Tay-K, targeting his former labels, 88 Classic and RCA Records, claiming they profited from his music despite the horrific act. Tay-K's legal entanglements weren't limited to just the criminal charges he faced. In yet another lawsuit filed on May 2nd, 2019, Skip Pepe, a 65-year-old allegedly assaulted and robbed by Tay-K in 2017, along with his wife, brought suit against the rapper, his former manager Ezra Averill, and both 88 Classic and RCA Records, the labels that distributed his music. Pepe's lawyers argued that these parties all benefited financially from Tay-K's notoriety, which they believe stemmed from the violent crimes he was accused of committing. The lawsuit sought to recover damages for Pepe's injuries and ensure those funds wouldn't be tied up in record sales. Tay-K may be behind bars, but his legal troubles are far from over. What do you think about the whole thing? Is Tay-K right that his skin color had something to do with his harsh sentence? Tell us in the comments section. Also, to watch more content just as engaging, click on one of the cards appearing on your screen now.